it off, losers. It's me, Stephanie Sterling, and this is the Jimquisition. It is, in fact, the 10-year anniversary of the Jimquisition, so why don't you choke on those nuts? Every Monday. Never missed one, never missed a Monday. 10 years, thank God for me. And oh God, it really is 10 years, isn't it? Well, that is fine. Everything is fine. And today, because everything is so fine and no one's worried at all about the fact that they've been doing this for 10 years, for fuck's sake, and that people tell them that they've been watching them since they were kids, we're not going to worry about that. Instead, we're going to celebrate me. Me. The best person. The most talented person I know. Me. 10 years. No hiatuses. No breaks. Never missed a Monday. For 10 entire years, I have published an episode of the Jimquisition every single Monday, without fail. Good fucking Lord, I'm tired. None of you fucking dare say 10 more years. Technically, this achievement could have been commemorated sooner. Before the Jimquisition began regularly uploading to this accursed platform as a Patreon-funded show, it had been running on The Escapist every single Monday for several years. However, because the independent version of the show is easier to catalogue, and also because I forgot, we're going to go with November 2014 as the beginning of this whole sorry shit show. 10 years ago, November 2014, the first episode of this Jimquisition went live. And when I say that, I don't mean this video you're watching went live 10 years ago. I mean this iteration of the series went live 10 years ago. Like the first episode of that, you know. So, there. Do try to keep up. Because Lord knows one of us has to. It was me slagging off Assassin's Creed Unity, which, funnily enough, was the reason I went independent in the first place, because The Escapist, then owned by Defy Media, refused to publish my review of the game. But Defy Media is dead now, which is great, because it means The Escapist can have an independent voice to go, oh right, yeah, everything online is either corporately owned or sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. Except me. In fact, I can prove it. Fuck. Fuck, shit, gun, cocaine. See? You don't see many of the right-wing so-called free speech advocates stick by their principles when ad revenue's on the line. In a way, I am the last stronghold of free speech on YouTube. I've decided. 10 years. Is this the only weekly web show to have published an episode every single week for 10 entire years without one single pause? Is it? I'm seriously asking because I don't know. It's hard to comprehend the scope of it, really. It's still somewhat abstract to me. But for as much as I can pull back and take it in, wouldn't be the first time, I can say I have accomplished what few could ever say they have, or would ever want to. I really don't know if what I've done is a record, if I'm the first and only to do it, but I do know that whether I am or not, what's been accomplished is phenomenal. And let's be honest, that is phenomenal. Regardless of your opinion of me and my work, I've done what at least almost nobody else has done, or again would want to do, who would be so bloody absurd. I stuck it out 10 fucking years. So today, as a well-earned treat, I'm going to talk about one of my favourite subjects of all time. Me. Myself. I. After all, let's face it, no other fucker's gonna commemorate it, so I might as well do it my fucking self.
Life's good when you're a ninja block.
Me. The one and only Stephanie Sterling, or James Stephanie Sterling if you're feeling formal, or Jim Sterling if you either didn't get the memo, naming existing handles, or think you're dead naming me, or Jim fucking Sterling's son if you're a prolific asset flipper, or Commander Sterling if you're a pro wrestler, or the polyantagonist Estro General and Pangalactic Princess if you're using some of my many brilliant wrestling nicknames, or simply Commander if you're one of the very lucky few I'm domming. Wait, forget I said that last bit. Critic. Reporter, video game writer, voice actor, professional wrestler. I've worn many hats in the 18 years I've been professionally working in media, and quite a few of those hats are both literal and stylish as fuck. I also have more boglins than almost anybody, and I'll officially have the most in the world after the completion of just 3 more heists. I sneak in, I bag the boglins and take a small soft shit in the kitchen as my calling card, for I can reveal finally that yes, I am the renowned master thief, Poopin' the Turd. Quality fucking joke. Quality joke. Over the decade, I've set precedents, influenced an industry, inspired a wave of younger and more fucking successful creators, pissed off billion-dollar corporations, helped a lot of queer people find themselves, and gone tits first into a pile of thumbtacks on more than one occasion.
Face first!
I've coined terminology and phrasing that's still used to this day, spreading far beyond my own sphere of influence and to people who've never heard of me. The term asset flip is perhaps the most tenured. My work in criticising Steam's complete lack of quality control may not have closed the sluice gate in the end, but it was influential enough that Valve itself took notice and sought me out for consultation. Good trip to Seattle that was. I mean, I got laid while I was there at least. Not with anyone at Valve, I should add. I must state this clearly for the record, I have not been bummed by Gabe Newell. And of course, yes, I am the mother of Chungus. Warner Brothers may have had the sheer fucking temerity to trademark my word, but it is my word. One I've used for over 13 years, a word that means everything and nothing, predominantly and originally a nickname and a reference to the body parts of my dear friend Jonathan, who starred in Road Rules Northern Trail in 1998, where he wore his baseball cap backwards. Oh, and for anyone who remembers the old days of me and Jonathan and Conrad Zimmerman, but might not know about Boston's favourite son, we still do that shit like it's really fucking sad. We're all middle-aged, and we're still talking about one man's anus. Well, when he's not too busy. It has been a while, and I want to talk to him so I can demand that he change his name to Old Man Greybones. I've been at the forefront of criticising predatory video game monetization, the longest running and almost certainly first full advocate against such exploitative practices as microtransactions, loot boxes, so-called live services, etc. Once again, arguments I formulated to critique these practices have influenced industry-wide discourse and been propagated far beyond myself. As one of the most notorious online critics to have her work targeted for attempted suppression by the criticised, I've had this channel attacked by embittered and particularly stupid game developers over the years, those who have fraudulently reported my videos for copyright violations and exploited YouTube's shamefully exploitable reporting systems to take content offline. This has never worked in the long run. Professional coward and bullshit merchant Gilson B. Pontus came close, hitting me with multiple strikes in succession in an attempt to have the entire channel taken down, didn't manage it though. Because he's a little bitch. Oh, and who could forget Skateman Intense Rescue? I wish I could. What the f- Most famously, I was the target of a $15 million lawsuit. Yep. We can't avoid talking about that one, can we? For many people, this situation was their introduction to my work. One unassuming morning, I produced a video of myself playing and commenting on a particularly shameless asset flip, the Slaughtering Grounds. Unaware at the time it would trigger one of the most famous feuds in video game history. But Digital Homicide, the self-styled developer of this jumbled collection of store-bought assets, posted an hilarious rebuttal video that slagged me off, which prompted a video from me laughing at it, which snowballed into months of me covering their quote-unquote games, to the outrage of the weirdos behind the Digihom name. I think they were called, was it James and Robert Romine? And that's not me trying to big-time them. I have a memory disorder and can't be fucked to look them up. That last bit was me big-timing them. This feud included an audio argument between myself and Robert, the one whose name I do remember that one, which was mostly me laughing at his increasingly ludicrous statements. There was like a really old video where I was pretending to inject like a serum into carrots to breed my own army, and he brought that up as a gotcha because he thought it proved I was trying to make an army or something. Anyway, it ended with them suing me for defamation of character or fucking something like that. For as medically fucked as my memory is, I'll never forget my ex opening the door to a sheriff from Jackson, Mississippi, documents in hand, to serve me the defining moment of my career on a silver platter. Well, It was in an envelope, but you get the point. The original lawsuit was for $10 million, but after being made by my lawyer to amend the many inaccuracies in it, they decided to bump up their alleged damages and go for $15 million. Ha! They didn't even have a lawyer. And it's like the old saying goes, they who represent themselves have the Remind brothers for a client. And they failed. Of course. Because their lawsuit was laughably written, patently dishonest, just plain wrong, and eventually dismissed with prejudice by an Arizona judge. And there is still not enough popcorn in the world. I became, and remain, one of the most divisive, controversial, and most targeted for impotent harassment video game reviewers in the world. It's not a distinction I'm 100% proud of, for the simple fact that I don't believe my opinion should be considered controversial to begin with, because it's just fucking computer game reviews. Get over it. But hey, history is history, and historically nobody has caused more uproars and left overzealous fanboys more distressed with their words than me. In fact, you may or may not be surprised to know I've got quite a few fans over at Metacritic.com. You know, I'm not saying that the party poppers were definitely brought out when I returned to written reviews, but hey, check out my written reviews on the Jimquisition.com. Not that I really deserve the credit for any success Metacritic may have, I think that should go to the capital G gamers who still put so much hilariously undue stock in the website. So entrenched in the heads of zealots am I that reviews I wrote over a decade ago are still regularly brought up in the most random places with all the rage of someone who remembers it like it was yesterday. Although let's be honest, 9 times out of 10 history's tended to vindicate me in my reviews. Well, 75% of the 70%, 65% of the time. And the practice still goes on today, though the tone of the outrage has only lowered and gotten frankly disgusting as the climate around pop culture's become more hostile in general. Last year's review of Starfield was subject to some of the most vile, violent, and venomous hate speech you could hope to read in video game discourse. Though like most of my reviews, nobody even shrugs now if you agree with anything I said in it. It took less than 6 months for many more people to say, yeah, actually Starfield was pretty shit, and for everyone else to just stop talking about the game because it didn't matter. It never does. It's computer game reviews. I have had an interesting life. Not many people born in Erith can say that they've lived in Jackson, Mississippi and Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I'm not even going into everything I've seen and experienced in this video. I've seen things you people wouldn't believe. I almost ruined PAX one year by having a dance competition with Sonic the Hedgehog where we trod velvet cake into the carpets. David Cage once argued at length with my editor-in-chief at the time because I dared to give Heavy Rain a 7 out of 10 and he was offended. I'm named by the developer of Deadly Premonition as one of the biggest reasons it ever had any success. I once became the talk of the E3 show floor following the world reveal of Microsoft's Kinect because I got really thirsty because they didn't even give us any fucking water. So I stagger out of the reveal dehydrated and everybody thought that I stormed out angrily to make a point and people thought it was fucking awesome. Managers at Square Enix Europe once featured me in a slideshow where they were telling the company that they didn't want coverage like mine anymore. Oh, fuck. I feuded with Cliffy B, I've made up with Cliffy B, I voice acted in several video games. Yahtzee once ate a jar of mustard because I was better at video games than him. Yahtzee was better at poetry than me, by popular opinion. And none of what I said there includes my personal life, which has been just as weird, if not weirder. Certainly a lot more pegging involved. I've been to paradise, but I've never went too low. One of my proudest accomplishments is seen in the number of people I've talked to who said I was either a big part of or entirely the reason they became aware of their own sexuality or gender, that seeing me gave them the confidence to come out. To use queer parlance, I've cracked a lot of eggs. Throughout my entire career, I've been vocal and intensely unapologetic about being queer, and that visibility has been vital. I've always said visibility is vital, and I consider it the most important thing I have ever done. It cannot be merely shrugged off that a result of never missing a single episode meant my transition was done publicly and in real time, week on week, physically changing from the very beginning of HRT to now several years on. And I did that on YouTube of all bloody places. even worse, on gaming YouTube. Jesus. Estrogen or not, that takes balls. Did coming out as trans femme negatively impact my career? Yes. Unequivocally, yes. Now, you can quibble over the degree to which it did, but it did. That's just objective. Would I change back? Fuck no. I ain't going back in the closet. It sucks in the closet. There are moths in there. Big ones that talk and eat babies. Well, they've definitely eaten one baby. I saw them do it, and one of them looked at me when they did it, which proves it. For the eggs I've cracked, for the queer siblings my existence helped, and by lordy for me. I am now and forever the pangalactic princess of pansexual pandemonium, the poly-antagonist, the astro-general, the trans-femme she-them paragon of non-binary finery, the interstellar queen, the hottest envy on the scene, and if you need a reminder, just hit me up on Grindr. God damn, I'm an untouchable promo. Despite being a physically disabled chronic pain sufferer with a herniated disc, I became a fucking professional wrestler. I had a career-ending injury before I started my career, and I've had historical achievements and influence in that medium as well. Oh, and by the time of publication, I'm the 612-day reigning and commanding PCW Women's Champion, and also a former title holder in Korea, despite never setting foot in Korea. It was never going to be a long in-ring career. In fact, I'm starting to think of my retirement plan, because for as good as it's been for me physically and mentally, the pain is outpacing the benefit now, and I'm going to be a part-time wheelchair girl in the near future, already shopping around. But the thing is, I did it. Because doing it is what I do. 612 days, toad fuckers! Oh wait, shit, 611. Oh, fuck. Well, that's not as impressive. As if two fields weren't enough, in recent years I've decided to make direct contributions to the video game medium itself, pursuing a new career as a games writer. One couldn't have started out stronger either, with Vampire Survivors as my first credit. This is something I still pinch myself over because it's bloody surreal to have worked on one of the biggest indie games going. To date, I've written the stage descriptions for the base game, the full bestiary of the base game, the bestiary of the Foscari DLC, and yes, the bestiary of Ode to Castlevania. Well, most of it. I can't vouch for anything that may or may not have been rewritten, but seriously, my gratitude toward Ponkel is eternal. Like, seriously, thank you. Just fucking thanks. I've also written for a game that was announced to massive social media notability, Date Everything. I cannot yet talk about what exactly I did for it, but needless to say, I am beyond proud of my work there. It's so fucking good, and again, like, huge gratitude to Sassy Chap Games for giving me a chance and trusting me with it. At the time of talking, I'm also attached to 2 other projects, currently negotiating a third. As I think about what I want to do with Act 2 of my life, well, you know what, I'm not actually thinking, because I know. And while it's hard to find sustainable work in an industry where you publicly hate all the companies with the most money and many of them hate you right back, I'm writing for more games. Because I am infuriatingly good at it. Fuck AI. It can't do what Stephanie Sterling does. It wouldn't have written the Milk Elemental bestiary entry, that's for damn fucking sure. 10 bloody years, mate. It's a hard anniversary to celebrate for a number of reasons, not least for the fact that a huge part of my career has been pushing back against crunch culture, arguing that game developers deserve more time off. Like many self-loathing mentally ill people, though, I've never applied to myself the wellness considerations I've advocated for others. Apparently, it's okay if you're just being an absolute piece of shit to yourself, and I do want to make it clear I've only ever inflicted the Never Miss a Monday mantra upon myself. Anybody working alongside me on this show can always take off whatever time they want with as short notice as needed, and whenever that happens, I still make sure this shit goes out, because indeed I'm Stephanie fucking Sterling and I've never missed a Monday. Bloody hell though, don't do it. Don't do it. Take time off, seriously. I do in fact think I am overdue a vacation, and I might, now that I've hit 10 years, miss a Monday. I don't know, maybe. It's a force of habit now, isn't it? I mean, I wanted to hit this milestone and say I goddamn did it, but also, between the executive dysfunction, ADHD, and general inability to handle a schedule, having this thing I put up every Monday without fail became an important anchor to me, a linchpin around which I can structure a week. Plus, I was always worried that if I missed a single Monday, it would only become easier to miss more and more, and I didn't want that. I've slowed down my output beyond the Jimquisition a lot for for my own health. I have always been a bit of a workaholic. Without my work, I feel sometimes like I cease to exist. And it's been nice these past few years just having more things to live for. I said I had an interesting life. A lot of that life's been pretty fucking shit and all. A lot of abusive situations and, you know, so much fucking physical pain, Jesus Christ. Work was often a refuge from that kind of stuff. But I got a lot more positivity going on now, and that's just plain nice. A celebration's also hard because while I did not delete my pre-transition work, as some folks understandably do, I personally don't care to go back. So a retrospective of the Jimquisition itself would be next to impossible. It's just weird to see that man in my place. It doesn't upset me. In fact, I sometimes look at an old photo or two to enjoy how fucking awesome I look now. But I think I'd be proper weirded out if I saw myself from 5 years or so ago actually moving and talking. And I'd feel sorry for him, because he was fucking miserable. It's like when people call me Jim now. It doesn't hurt so much as feel like the Matrix glitched for a moment. It's just strange. And the other reason it's hard is because, well, I'm fucking tired. I've stressed and pondered and worked and written and talked about all this shit for 10 goddamn years. Don't know if I mentioned it's been 10 goddamn years. It is staggering that I've lasted in the face of YouTube becoming an unviable platform, this channel being basically done for, and this side of my career not really being something I can just sort of continue on its own. But for the good bits and the shit bits, I have gone the fucking distance. And you know what? I deserve better than I got. I don't care how arrogant that may sound. For all I've accomplished in this business, I deserve more than the business gave out. But I'm glad I had a ton of support from outside the business, i.e. everybody responsible for keeping this show going for 10 years, i.e. the fucking patrons. For all the credit I can take for staying that distance for 10 years, the show would be nothing without the people who believed in it enough to fund it. It's thanks to you I've never had to shill for a shitty mobile game. It's thanks to you that algorithm be fucking damned I can say fuck as many times as I fucking like. And YouTube can roll over and shit Mars bars about it, the bunch of fucking cunts. For 10 years you've kept me going. You've kept this show going. For 10 years. You did that. So thank you for that. Like, fucking seriously. And there are other people I need to thank as well. Conrad Zimmerman, one of my oldest friends and colleagues, who has given me so much support over the years, and who has co-hosted Podquisition with me for many of them, and helped me torment my friend Jonathan Holmes. And Jonathan, thank you as well, you lovely boy. Laura Kate Dale, who subtitles the Jimquisition and has also co-hosted Podquisition with me for 10 years. Yeah, that show as well, this week, has gone for 10 years. Gavin Dunn, aka The Miracle of Sound, who was part of that podcast in the early days and has, again, always been supportive. My friends Ollie and Mark, whose enthusiasm about this show has kept me invested in it during periods where I just wanted to fuck everything off. Nathan Hanover and Carl Catron, whose wonderful music I've commissioned before. They're just fucking great. And of course, Drill Queen, who many years ago said I could use their music, Born Depressed, which has been this show's theme for almost its entire run, except for that brief bit where it was stressed by Jim's Big Ego, and thanks to Jim's Big Ego as well. It's a fucking great song, that. And thank you to my husband, Phoenix Sterling, who helped put me back together during one of the shittest times of my life, who helped me find myself, who makes me happy and gives me confidence and encourages me to keep at it, and is just the goddamn love of my life. And finally, and they will have just reached this part of the edit, hello Z Manzilla, and thank you. Your enthusiasm for this job, your fucking amazing editing talent, your sense of humour, your frequent reminders that I use too many adverbs via the medium of Bruce Lee. You have been the shot in the arm this whole thing needed. You make this show better, you make this job better. It has been a privilege to work alongside you. And it has been a goddamn fucking pleasure. Thank you.
You're welcome. And thank you too.
I don't know exactly when this all wraps up, and this ain't the funeral just yet, but, you know, the sun's gonna set and it won't take 10 more years. I fucking hope not. I'm tired, for God's sake. And for God's sake, thank God for me. I am Stephanie Sterling, and I will still never forgive Tecmo Koei for what they did to Zhang He. Oh, Stephanie, you'll never get the credit you deserve. Well, that's that. 10 years in the bag. And again, I must stress, there will not be 10 more of them. No fucking siree. If there are another 10 of them, if I'm here 10 years from now, something's gone wrong. Something's gone very, very wrong. Thank God for me, though, and all of that. And thank you for everything. But mostly thank God for me.